8.4375 meters cubed. Above standard. So this is all of the bonus extra questions. This will be at a year 10 standard. So the first one says, can deduce properties of geometric figures. Question 15, find the values of the missing pronumerals. For shapes that are beyond the usual convention, it is worthwhile knowing that the sum of angles in a regular sort of polygon or any sort of closed shape would be equal to 180 times by however many sides you have, take away 2. This is one of the rules that we have. So for instance, we've got this octagon on the right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Well, this one here, the angles should all add up to 180 times by 8, take away 2. So in this case, that'll be 180 times by 6, and that'll be 1080. Here, we've got a trapezium, and it's a 4-sided shape, and it's going to have a total angle sum of 360. Now, in this question, we've been asked just to find the insides. The inside angles are the ones that have been marked with M's. And what's really useful to know is that the top and the bottom here are parallel lines, which means that this angle and this angle here are going to be equal to 180 degrees. Now, according to the angles here, however, at least from the angle diagram, it is shown that this angle and this angle here on the top left and the top right are the same. We can see by the symbol there, that is what it means. Therefore, this angle here should also be equal to 3m. Now, if the top line here, probably should get a highlighter so I'm not looking like I'm doing some scrawl, this side here are parallel, that means that these internal angles here are co-interior, and co-interior angles add up to 180 degrees. Therefore, 2m plus 3m will be equal to 180 degrees. 5m is equal to 180. M is equal to 3 and 3 left over, so 36 degrees. Now, from the outside, this octagon looks like a regular octagon, and what that means is that you would think that all of the angles would be the same. If that were the case, then 1080 divided by 8 for 8 angles would be 135 degrees each, except it wouldn't make sense that 2 x's are equal to 3 x's, which are equal to 4 x's. Therefore, the angles are not all the same. And if the angles are not all the same, then what we need to do is add all of the angles together and solve for x. I'm going to start alphabetically and add them all together. So I added all the pronumerals together, the numbers together, and I got a result of x being equal to 43 degrees. Can formulate a proof using a sequence of statements. Question 16, prove that the triangle EFO is similar to GHO. When you're developing a proof, it's useful by listing things like what angles are the same, or if there's particular rules about particular shapes. Here we're dealing with a trapezium, so all of the, as the big shape, and we've got 2 triangles in between. I reckon for this proof, what I would do is I would refer to angles. The first thing I would do is the fact that I notice that we've got 2 parallel lines, one from H to G, one to E to F, and using our same principles before, the angles at H and F will be the same. So the first line of my proof will look like this. There we go. So I've got I've started by mentioning those as alternate angles. And to honestly, why not do the same with the other side? So I'm going to go and list these 2 angles for the exact same reason. And then for O, both sides of O are going to be the exact same here due to the fact of we've got opposite angles, or vertically opposite angles will be identical. And because I've got all of those angles match up to each other, then we can use the similarity rule that of angle, 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 which is one of our tests to show that that two triangles are similar. And there is a very simple proof that we're able to use to show that those two triangles are similar. Question 17. Slocum is a yacht whose length is 12 meters and beam width is 2.5 meters. A model is constructed for a maritime museum. If the length and width of the model are 1/5 of the original length and width, how do their volumes compare? Oh, what a great question this would be. If I've got this, so I've got the original and I've got the model and we've got some distances. So I'm told that the original, if that was the original, was 1, then the distance of the distances of the dimensions of the model would be 1/5 in size. Now, using our understanding of adjusting for areas and volumes, this would mean that areas, it would be shrunk by 1/5 squared. So therefore, by volumes, it must be shrunk by 1/5 cubed, which means that the volume of the model, 5 times 5 times 5 would be 125. So the volume of the model is 125th of the yacht. Question 18. A storage tank as shown in the diagram is made of a 4-meter tall cylinder joined by a 3-meter tall cone. If the diameter of the cylinder is 5 meters, what is the radius of the end of the cone if 0.75 meters has been cut from the tip? What I'm going to do is I'm going to use two triangles, one that's on the outside like this, and one that's on the inside like this. As they share the same hypotenuse, they're going to, and just scaled versions of the hypotenuse, they are going to be similar triangles. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and scale this accordingly. Now, side A here is going to be the same from this end to the end of this cone where I've drawn that red triangle is going to have that distance of 2.5 meters. So that's going to be 2.5 meters. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go and need to figure out what the size inside here is. Now, according to this, the amount that's being cut off from the tip here is 0.75, which means the height of the blue triangle is going to be 3, take away 0.75, so it's going to be 2.25 meters. So what's the scale factor? So I've gone from 3 meters down to 2.25, which would be the same as saying 300 to 225, which if we divide by 25, or could we even divide by 50? No, divided by 25, and that's going to get me equal to 12:9 ratio, which if I do, I can divide both by 3, and I get a 4:3 ratio, which means that when scaling, for every 1 meter of that red triangle, that's going to equal to 3/4 of the blue triangle. So in other words, this 2.5, to find A is going to be 2.5 times by 3/4. And that A is going to be 1.875 meters. So given that in mind, that little triangle there is also, if I could fit along here, that means that is also worth A. Yeah. So that's going to be 1.875 meters. So therefore, this little gap here, that gap there, what will that distance be, that little bridge there? Well, that's going to be equal to 5 meters take away 2 lots of 1.875 meters, which is equal to 1.25. And so the radius is going to be halfway. So therefore the radius of that circle is going to be 0.625 meters.